Joining me now is UFC strawweight contender Tecia Torres, who's getting ready to face Mackenzie Dern at UFC 273 on April 9th. Tecia, how's it going?
It's going good. About to start my day and get some training in after this.
Awesome. And to start things off here, what's the energy been like in the gym ahead of this one? And how has camp been so far?
Camp's been really good, improving, learning, putting in some new tricks into my arsenal, and just excited to get in there.
Definitely. And how are things going in Colorado?
Great. I love Colorado. It's great. One of the greatest states, I think.
Awesome. And 3-fight winning streak entering this fight at UFC 273. What would you say are some of the biggest reasons for your recent success in the octagon and the current run that you're on?
Honestly, it just has to do with my mental belief and my confidence in myself. That shifted a lot. I went from very little to very high. So just keeping that confidence. When I have confidence in myself, I perform at my best.
Definitely. And obviously, big fight coming up against Mackenzie Dern. What are your thoughts on the matchup and just her skill set in general?
I think she's a tough opponent. You can never look anybody out. Obviously, her jiu-jitsu is her, bread and butter. But it's an MMA fight, so I'm excited for it, wherever the fight shall, take us.
Definitely. And I saw in a recent interview that she predicted a first round submission. I guess, what are your thoughts on her comments and how do you see the grappling exchanges playing out in this fight?
I don't see her winning at all. My hand's going to be raised. If anybody's getting a finish, it's going to be me. I think, like I said, I think she's a great fighter, but this is an MMA fight. It's not a jiu-jitsu match. There's a lot of things she has to get through in order to, try and submit me.
And I feel like a lot has been made of kind of her improvement with her striking. Have you seen those improvements from watching film and just watching her last few performances?
Yeah, for sure. She's improved from her striking from the beginning of her MMA career till now, but it's nowhere near mine. It's better, but it's not at the level mine is.
Yeah, totally. And where do you feel like a win over Dern puts you in the strawweight title picture? Do you have a specific matchup in mind, or where do you feel like it puts you from here?
Definitely puts me in the top 5. I can see it putting me in talk of title contention, but realistically, I probably have another fight after this one.
I gotcha. Do you have a specific opponent in mind? I mean, obviously, I know you're not looking past Mackenzie, but is there a certain name that comes to mind when thinking about a possible next fight for you?
No, anybody in the top 5. I've probably fought them all except for Jan. So.
Yeah, I gotcha. And strawweight title rematch coming up later this year between Rose Namajunas and Carla Esparza. How do you see that playing out?
I see Rose winning that fight. If she doesn't finish her, she's definitely going to dominate.
I gotcha. And you were on the Ultimate Fighter season 20 with Rose and Carla. Looking back on that experience of being on the show, how cool is it to have the three of you still at the top of the division all these years later?
Oh, it's awesome. Going into that season, we knew right away who would be the ones fighting for the top. For me, unfortunately, it didn't happen that way, but I've, managed to stick around and, stick around in the top in the UFC for the last, 8 years. But it's exciting, to see the growth of both of them and just my division in general. I'm a fan of the sport outside of being a competitor.
Definitely. And you mentioned you're a fan. Who are some fighters that you like watching around the sport that you may take inspiration from or that you may learn from?
I honestly like all of the karate fighters, taekwondo-based fighters. Like, they're very exciting to watch. They throw different kicks that some that I throw and, other things that not just I'm not going to say basic, but your average MMA fighter would throw because they're not used to them. So I like watching them. But besides that, I like every girl in my division, to be honest. And then as a whole, women's MMA, I'm a big fan of.
Definitely. And your partner, Raquel Pennington, is getting ready to step up on short notice and fight Aspen Ladd at UFC 273. Obviously, I know you're biased, but what are your thoughts on that matchup and how excited are the two of you to compete on the same card?
Yeah, she's been wanting that fight and she's been working very hard in the gym. So she's ready to take the fight. The main hard thing always for her is, making weight. And then the easy part is, and the fun part is fighting. So I'm excited. It's a good fight for her, I think. It'll put her, I believe, in the top 5 again as well. It's nerve-wracking fighting on the same card for sure, but we've done it like 3 or 4 times already. And the last time we did it, we were successful. So I plan on doing that again.
Yeah, and you mentioned it a little bit there, but what are some of the pros and cons of competing on the same card? Obviously, you mentioned it's a little bit nerve-wracking, but what's kind of that whole experience like?
Well, I guess a pro would be after the fight, we both can celebrate together or be there for one another, whatever it is, and then rest together. It's hard to plan trips when you both fight and could fight at any time. So we can rest and go somewhere. Con, obviously, for me is the nerves. I'm excited and nervous for myself and both her. I'm confident in our skills, but anything can happen, and obviously I want the best to happen for both of us. I guess those are the two major ones.
I gotcha. And what's kind of the impact that Raquel has had on your life and career to this point?
Sorry, that's my laundry.
Oh, no worries, you're good.
Definitely brought more adventure into my life for the last 6 years. I came from never going on a hike to hiking 14ers. My first real hike in Colorado was Pikes Peak, and that was a lot of arguing up the up the mountain because it was a lot for me in the altitude. So an adventurous life, a really great best friend in this, a great teammate. She's one of my main training partners and really does help me excel to where I need to be. And she's great at giving different looks as far as opponents and such.
Definitely. And you mentioned that you two like to go on trips together. Where are some places that you travel to?
A lot of them have been from fighting. We've gone Canada, Uruguay, Mexico, Brazil, Puerto Rico, Japan, a good amount of places. I've enjoyed it. Our relationship started when both of our careers were kind of, on the top going up, because we both were in the UFC or whatnot. We weren't in Invicta anymore. So we definitely have a great life. I can't complain in terms of being able to do what we want to do.
Definitely. And you always come out with the Puerto Rico flag. How much does it mean to you to represent your country?
Oh, it means a lot. I mean, I'm American. I was born in the U.S., but my blood is Puerto Rican. I'm Latina. So, yeah, of course, I want to represent that. I would love for the UFC one day to go to Puerto Rico. There was talks about it a few years back when Anthony Pettis was on a good run. Unfortunately, that never happened. So to one day to be able to go there and represent Puerto Rico and fight there, but it would be a dream of mine. Maybe that can happen one day. I get that title shot and I win, and then I have, more than enough reason to go there.
Definitely. And you've been an advocate for mental health awareness for a long time. Obviously, it's really important for you. Just kind of talk about how important that is for you to have the mental side of fighting strong as well as the physical side.
Yeah. For a long time, I was very scared to share anything that I was going through and very scared to find help. And then I did. And then I actually, one of the things that made me, allowed me to share my stories. I heard a podcast that Robert Whitaker did, and he shared his journey through mental health. And that really inspired me. And then it just so happened to be a couple of days later, World Mental Health Day. So I shared my story. And since then, I've been pretty open about it. I do suffer with depression, anxiety, and it's a daily battle, unfortunately. But, I have my ups and downs. But I really think it's necessary for those who, do have mental health, issues, problems, whatever you want to call it, deal with things like that, to seek help, whether it is from, a paid therapist or a friend, a family member, because it is quite hard, being alone in that journey.
Right. And what do you like to do to decompress before and after the fight?
Before the fight, it's a lot of sleeping, fight week, outside of training, a lot of Netflix, playing cards, just trying to, be my normal self, not be so intertwined into fight week, it's a fight, it's big, but I'm also human and I also have a normal life. So I just try to be as calm as I can. And then after the fight, I like to go home and sleep, take some time off, travel.
Awesome. And you came into MMA with a kickboxing background. Before your career eventually comes to a close down the line, do you see yourself competing in a kickboxing promotion such as Glory or somewhere like that?
I would love to fight for Glory or Lion Fight one day. Fortunately, I can't do that because, of my UFC contract. And the pay, I think is a lot different too, but that's okay. But yeah, I definitely would like to try if I could do it. We'll see what happens.
Awesome. And last question for me. What's the key to getting the win at UFC 273, and what can fans expect from the fight?
The key to the win is being myself, continuing to have this confidence, fighting my fight, keeping the pressure. And a little bit of secrets that I have that I'll wait, that you guys will have to tune in to watch and see. But it's going to be an exciting fight. It's always interesting when a striker fights, a striker fights a jiu-jitsu or a ground person. Sometimes you never know. It could be all striking, it could be all jiu-jitsu, who knows? But I don't know. I know what I want to do, so we'll see what happens.
Awesome. And before we wrap things up here, I'll give you the floor to shout out any sponsors you have, your team, all that good stuff. I'll give you the final word.
Yeah, well, you can follow me on my socials at Tecia Torres. Everything's linked there. My main gym is Pound for Pound Fitness, and then I do a lot of my things one-on-one. I started working with R&M Boxing with many, Jason, Justin, Jessica, Raquel, my main coaches and helping me in this fight. And then SinFit Nutrition for always helping me, and Egg Weights. I thank them both.
Awesome. Well, Tecia, thanks again for the time. Really do appreciate it. So close to fight week, and I'm sure we'll chat again soon. Thank you so much.
Cool. Thank you.